A Harley can feel perfect for 20 minutes and absolutely brutal 3 hours later. That's the part nobody tells you until your lower back's locked up at a gas station somewhere, 2 states from home. But some Harleys earned a different kind of reputation with older riders. Bikes. People keep riding well into their 60s and 70s because they simply don't wear you out the same way. Today, we're looking at 15 of them. And honestly, one of the last bikes on this list changed the opinion of riders who swore they were done with heavyweight touring motorcycles forever. Number 15, Harley-Davidson Street 750. Not every Harley-Davidson needs to feel like a rolling freight train. Sometimes the best motorcycle for an older rider is the one that asks the least from your body while still giving you that unmistakable feeling of freedom every time the engine comes to life. And that is exactly why the Street 750 quietly became one of the most underrated motorcycles Harley ever built for seasoned riders. This machine was never designed to dominate the interstate or overwhelm riders with brute muscle. Instead, it was engineered for simplicity, approachability, and everyday comfort. Qualities many riders begin valuing far more once the knees stiffen and the lower back starts making its own decisions. The first thing seniors immediately notice is the remarkably low seat height, sitting around 28 inches. That accessible stance allows both feet to settle naturally at stops, removing the nervous top, heavy feeling that larger touring bikes sometimes create. Combined with a low center of gravity and manageable overall weight, the Street feels calm during parking lot maneuvers, city traffic, and slow speed turns. Places where aging shoulders and hips often feel the most pressure, its liquid-cooled revolution with 𝐏749 cubic centimeter V-twin delivers power with a smoother, more controlled personality than many traditional Harleys. Vibration stays restrained, helping reduce wrist numbness and upper body fatigue on longer rides. Brand new models once sold near $7,500, while today's used market keeps ownership surprisingly affordable. If this is your kind of riding conversation, real comfort, real ownership, real long-distance experience, subscribe to the channel. That support helps us keep making motorcycle videos for riders who still care about the road itself, not just spec sheet bragging rights. And the next Harley begins introducing something many longtime riders eventually crave again: deeper highway confidence, stronger road presence, and a posture built to settle the body into pure, relaxed cruising. Number 14, Harley-Davidson Softail Standard. Some motorcycles try to overwhelm you with technology, chrome, and sheer size. But the Harley-Davidson Softail Standard succeeds for an entirely different reason. It feels honest. For many older riders, that honesty becomes incredibly appealing after years spent wrestling bulky machines that demand more energy than they return. Everything about this motorcycle is designed to feel natural. The low 25-inch seat helps riders settle comfortably at stops, while the relaxed handlebar reach keeps pressure away from aging shoulders and wrists. Mid-mounted controls encourage a more balanced riding posture, allowing the spine to remain upright instead of forcing the body into an awkward stretch mile after mile. Power comes from Harley's Milwaukee 8107 V-twin, an engine that preserves the deep heartbeat riders love while smoothing out much of the harsh vibration older generations became famous for. That calmer engine character makes longer rides noticeably easier on stiff joints and tired hands. Even at over 600 pounds ready to ride, the Softail hides its weight remarkably well, thanks to its low-slung chassis and balanced handling. New models usually begin around $13,000, while clean used examples commonly trade between $9,000 and $12,000 today. But for some, comfortable alone isn't enough anymore. They want more road presence, more planted highway stability, and the kind of heavyweight confidence that makes long interstate rides feel effortless instead of exposed. That craving is exactly what pushes attention toward the next machine, the chrome heavy icon that turned muscular cruising into an American art form. Number 13, Harley-Davidson Fat Boy 114. Few motorcycles carry the same unmistakable road presence as the Harley-Davidson Fat Boy 114. It does not whisper for attention. It owns the entire boulevard the moment it rolls into view. Yet what many older riders eventually discover is that beneath all that muscle and chrome lives a cruiser surprisingly well-suited for relaxed, full-bodied comfort. The Fat Boy was built to feel solid. Its low 26-inch seat immediately creates reassurance at stoplights and parking lots, especially for riders who no longer enjoy balancing taller, heavyweight machines. Wide bars, stretched floorboards, and a naturally open riding position allow the body to settle into an easy rhythm instead of folding the knees and compressing the lower back. At the center sits Harley's Milwaukee 8114 V-twin, delivering deep torque with a smoother personality than older big twins ever managed. The engine still pulses with classic Harley character, but without the excessive vibration that often left riders fatigued after long highway days. Despite weighing nearly 700 pounds ready to ride, the Softail chassis disguises the mass remarkably well once underway. New models begin around $22,000, while clean used examples commonly land between $14,000 and $19,000, depending on condition. But while the Fat Boy masters boulevard confidence and relaxed cruising, the next Harley shifts towards something even more important for aging riders. True long-distance protection built to swallow endless highway miles with ease. Number 12. Harley-Davidson Heritage Classic. This is not a bike built for ego. It is built for the rider who still loves the open road, but wants to finish the day without aching knees, stiff shoulders, or a burning lower back. The low 26-inch seat creates immediate confidence at every stop, while the relaxed riding position keeps your spine upright and your arms naturally positioned. Wide floorboards let your legs stretch during long highway runs, and the detachable windshield cuts wind fatigue before it turns into neck pain. Then comes the Milwaukee 8-engine, deep, smooth, and effortlessly torque-rich. Unlike older Harleys that rattled endlessly at speed, the Heritage Classic feels calm and refined mile after mile. Lockable saddlebags make weekend travel easy without adding excessive bulk. New models typically start around $22,000, while clean used examples usually range between $14,000 and $19,000. The Heritage Classic proves you don't need aggressive performance to enjoy serious comfort. Its upright ergonomics, windshield coverage, and relaxed floorboards make long rides feel far less punishing than many riders expect. Still, riders who spend entire weekends crossing state lines eventually discover one limitation. There's only so much minimalist touring can hide before full dress. Comfort starts calling your name. And that realization opens the door to the next Harley, a machine born specifically for riders who measure freedom in hundreds of uninterrupted highway miles. Number 11. Harley-Davidson Electra Glide Standard. There comes a point where a rider stops caring about looking fast and starts caring about feeling good after 5 straight hours on the interstate. That is exactly why the Harley-Davidson Electra Glide Standard earns so much respect among experienced riders. This motorcycle was never built to impress parking lots. It was built to cross states in total comfort. The riding position feels natural immediately. Your back stays upright, your arms fall comfortably onto the handlebars, and the wide floorboards let aging knees move around instead of locking into one position for hours. Even with its heavyweight touring size, the low 26-inch seat creates reassuring confidence at stoplights and slow-speed turns. But the real transformation happens once the highway opens up. That iconic batwing fairing blocks wind pressure so effectively that long rides stop feeling exhausting. Less wind against your chest means less strain on your neck, shoulders, and lower back by the end of the day. The Milwaukee 8107 engine delivers smooth, relaxed torque without the harsh vibration older Harleys became famous for. Hard saddlebags add genuine touring practicality, making retirement road trips feel effortless. Used Milwaukee 8 models now typically range between $14,000 and $18,000, but not everyone wants a fixed front fairing permanently sitting in their line of sight. Some riders still crave the open-air feeling of a traditional cruiser while keeping the comfort and confidence of a true highway machine. That balance is exactly why the next Harley became such a legend, a motorcycle that blends touring capability with timeless road-going simplicity. Number 10. Harley-Davidson Road King. For many older riders, the Harley-Davidson Road King represents the exact moment motorcycling stops being about showing off and starts becoming about staying comfortable for the long haul. This motorcycle has earned legendary respect because it delivers classic American cruiser soul without punishing the body after hours on the road. Everything about the Road King feels designed for effortless highway travel. The upright riding posture keeps pressure away from the lower back, while the swept handlebars prevent shoulder and wrist strain during all-day rides. Wide floorboards allow your legs to shift naturally, helping aging knees stay loose instead of stiffening mile after mile. Its low 26-inch seat also creates reassuring confidence at stoplights nights in parking lots, something many senior riders appreciate more every single year. But the true magic appears once the Road King settles into highway speed. The detachable windshield dramatically reduces wind fatigue, turning exhausting interstate rides into calm, relaxed cruising. Pair that with the Milwaukee 8 engine, smooth, torque-rich, and far more refined than older Harley generations, and the entire experience feels almost effortless. New models usually begin around $25,000, while clean used examples commonly range between $15,000 and $22,000. Now we want to hear from you. Have you ever owned a Harley that felt perfect for the first 30 minutes, but brutal after 3 hours in the saddle? Or maybe you found one that completely surprised you on long-distance comfort. Leave a comment below, because riders looking for their next pain, free touring bike pay, attention to real owner experience, far more than dealership brochures. The Road King earns its reputation by making heavyweight touring feel surprisingly natural once the wheels are rolling. But for some older riders, confidence disappears the moment the speed drops, especially during parking maneuvers, uneven pavement, or fully loaded stops. And when balancing 800 pounds starts feeling more stressful than freeing, riders begin looking for the next answer. Harley develops specifically for stability, reassurance, and low-speed peace of mind. Number 9. Harley-Davidson Freewheeler. For many riders, growing older does not mean losing the love for motorcycles. It means finding a way to keep riding without the constant strain, anxiety, and physical exhaustion that heavy two-wheel machines can eventually create. And that is exactly where the Harley-Davidson Freewheeler becomes something special. This is not a motorcycle built around speed or aggression. It is built around confidence. The Freewheeler's three-wheel design removes one of the biggest fears many senior riders quietly battle: balancing a heavy motorcycle at stoplights, parking lots, or uneven pavement. For riders dealing with sore knees, hip pain, arthritis, or reduced leg strength, that added stability can feel life-changing. Comfort is equally impressive. The relaxed upright posture, stretched floorboards, wide handlebars, and deeply cushioned seat help reduce pressure on the lower back and shoulders during long highway rides. Meanwhile, Harley's Milwaukee 8/114 V-twin delivers smooth, low vibration, torque that feels calm, steady, and easy on aging joints. New models typically start around $32,000, while clean used examples often range between $22,000 and $29,000. But Harley's next motorcycle takes comfort in an entirely different direction, replacing three-wheel stability with something even more dangerous for retirement plans: a luxury touring machine so smooth and effortless, it can make a 1,000-mile weekend feel almost too easy. Number 8. Harley-Davidson Lowrider. Seen up for years, many riders believed comfort and performance lived in completely different worlds. One gave you excitement but punished your spine. The other delivered luxury but felt detached from the road beneath you. Then the Harley-Davidson Lowrider seat arrived and quietly proved something important. Experienced riders do not always want slower motorcycles. They want smarter ones. The Lowrider seat feels athletic without becoming exhausting. Mid-mounted controls and a natural reach to the bars keep the rider balanced instead of forcing pressure into the wrists and lower back. Its seat height, roughly 27 inches unloaded, remains approachable while still allowing enough suspension travel to soften broken pavement and highway imperfections. Older bodies feel immediately. What truly transforms the experience is the frame-mounted fairing. Unlike stripped cruisers that leave riders battling endless wind pressure, this setup calms highway turbulence and dramatically reduces neck and shoulder fatigue during longer interstate rides. Underneath sits Harley's Milwaukee 8/117 V-twin, delivering strong passing power with smoother behavior than many older big twins. Hard saddlebags add genuine touring practicality without turning the motorcycle into an oversized heavyweight machine. New models typically begin around $24,000, while used examples often range between $18,000 and $22,000 today. The Lowrider surprises many older riders because it manages to feel fast, responsive, and comfortable all at once. Its fairing cuts fatigue, its riding triangle stays relatively natural, and its lighter personality keeps the experience engaging without becoming punishing. But eventually, some riders stop asking for sporty versatility and start asking for full-scale touring. Comfort, larger storage, broader wind protection, and the kind of effortless highway experience that turns all-day rides into second nature. That evolution in priorities leads directly to the next Harley-Davidson in this countdown, one that became a benchmark for modern American baggers. Number 7. Harley-Davidson Street Glide. The Harley-Davidson Street Glide is where many seasoned riders finally discover that comfort does not have to come at the expense of character. This motorcycle still carries the soul, presence, and deep V twin heartbeat riders fell in love with decades ago, but it delivers that experience with far less punishment on the body. What makes the Street Glide so respected among older riders is balance. It offers genuine long-distance touring capability without feeling as overwhelming as some full-dress luxury tours. The low seat height creates reassurance during stops, while the wide floorboards allow the legs to shift naturally, instead of trapping the knees in one rigid position for hours. Then there is the famous bat wing fairing, one of the biggest reasons seniors continue choosing this motorcycle year after year. Highway wind no longer pounds against the chest and shoulders, mile after mile. That reduction in wind fatigue dramatically eases pressure on the neck, wrists, and lower back during extended travel. Harley's Milwaukee 8 engine keeps the ride smooth and relaxed while preserving enough rumble to feel unmistakably alive beneath you. Brand new models now begin near $25,000, while clean used examples typically range between $23,000 and $24,000, depending on mileage and equipment. But after enough miles, some riders begin noticing one thing: frame-mounted wind. Protection changes everything once the interstate stretches endlessly ahead. That realization is exactly why the next Harley rose to touring dominance, a machine engineered to stay calmer, steadier, and less fatiguing the farther the road disappears into the horizon. Number 6. Harley-Davidson Road Glide Special. The Harley-Davidson Road Glide Special is what happens when decades of touring experience finally shape a motorcycle around one goal: keeping riders comfortable enough to continue chasing distant horizons year after year. For many senior riders, this is the machine where long-distance travel stops feeling demanding and starts feeling almost effortless. Its greatest strength appears immediately on the highway. The shark nose frame mounted fairing cuts through wind with remarkable stability, reducing the constant pressure that often leaves older riders battling neck stiffness and shoulder exhaustion after hours in the saddle. Because the fairing stays fixed to the frame, instead of moving with the handlebars, steering feels calmer and more controlled at interstate speeds. The riding triangle also feels purpose-built for aging bodies. Wide floorboards encourage natural leg movement, while the bars fall comfortably toward the rider without forcing strain into the wrists or upper back. Deep touring seating and a stable chassis help the motorcycle settle into an easy rhythm mile after mile. Harley's Milwaukee 8/114 engine delivers smooth highway torque with far less harsh vibration than earlier generations. New models originally carried prices near $30,000, while clean used examples today usually range between $22,000 and $29,000, depending on mileage and upgrades. And up to this point, we've covered Harleys that make riding easier on aging backs, knees, and shoulders. But the next 5 motorcycles operate at an entirely different level. This is where Harley-Davidson's best comfort engineering, touring luxury, and long-distance refinement begin to take over. So now we're curious, which Harley here feels closest to your ideal retirement bike? Let us know in the comments, and while you're there, subscribe to the channel, because the next stretch of this countdown moves into Harley's most advanced long-distance comfort machines yet. From this point forward, we're stepping into the highest level of American touring engineering: bigger wind protection, smarter ergonomics, calmer highway manners, and luxury design specifically for riders who refuse to let age shorten the road ahead. These next Harleys aren't just motorcycles. They're lifelong touring companions built to keep senior riders traveling farther, longer, and with absolutely no regrets. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Tri-Glide Ultra. For many riders, there comes a moment nobody likes talking about. The moment when balancing a massive touring motorcycle at parking lot speed suddenly feels heavier than it used to. Knees ache a little longer, hips complain after long rides, and catching a near drop no longer feels automatic. That is exactly why the Harley-Davidson Tri-Glide Ultra matters so much. Because this machine removes one of the biggest fears aging riders quietly carry: losing confidence at low speed. The 3-wheel layout changes everything. At stoplights, there's no need to support nearly 900 pounds with tired legs. Uneven pavement becomes less stressful. Slow maneuvers feel calm instead of exhausting. And for many older riders, that stability alone extends their riding life by years. The seating position is pure long distance. Comfort, wide floorboards let your legs move naturally. The batwing fairing blocks, punishing wind fatigue, and the passenger backrest transforms cross-country travel into something genuinely relaxing. Then comes the Milwaukee 8114 engine, smooth, torque-heavy, and beautifully controlled without excessive vibration. New Tri-Glide Ultra models now start around $38,000, while clean used examples typically range between $28,000 and $36,000. The Tri-Glide Ultra removes an enormous amount of physical stress from touring. No balancing anxiety, no shaky parking lot moments, no fear of dropping hundreds of pounds after a long riding day. But for some riders, ultimate stability comes with a trade-off. They still miss the cleaner lean angles, sleeker styling, and two-wheel connection that first made them fall in love with motorcycles decades ago. That lingering desire is exactly what drives attention toward the next Harley, a machine where luxury, comfort, and premium craftsmanship come together without sacrificing that classic bagger soul. Number 4. Harley-Davidson CVO Street Glide. The Harley-Davidson CVO Street Glide is what happens when a company stops building motorcycles for weekend rides and starts engineering them for a lifetime on the road. For senior riders who have already spent decades chasing highways, this machine feels less like transportation and more like reward. Everything about it feels elevated. The moment you settle into the saddle, the difference becomes obvious. The seating feels richer, the suspension calmer, the wind protection quieter. Even the smallest details seem designed to reduce fatigue before it ever begins. And for aging riders dealing with stiff backs, tired shoulders, or sensitive wrists, that refinement changes everything after several hours in the saddle. The low seat height creates immediate confidence at stops, while the bars naturally sweep toward the rider instead of demanding an awkward reach. Wide floorboards allow constant movement for the legs and hips, helping prevent the stiffness many older riders experience during cross-country travel. Up front, the batwing fairing and premium wind management smooth out highway turbulence so effectively that long interstate stretches feel dramatically less exhausting. Beneath it all sits Harley's Milwaukee 8-variable valve timing 121 V-twin, delivering enormous torque with surprising smoothness. The power feels effortless rather than aggressive, while improved heat management and vibration reduction make long-distance riding far easier on aging joints and lower backs than older generations ever allowed. Luxury equipment pushes the experience even further. Heated grips, premium audio, advanced rider aids, upgraded suspension, and high-end touring materials transform the motorcycle into something closer to a rolling grand tour than a traditional cruiser. New models now begin around $45,000, while clean used examples commonly range between $34,000 and $43,000, depending on mileage and upgrades. But perhaps the most fascinating part of the CVO Street Glide is this. Riders do not buy it to feel younger. They buy it because experience finally taught them what truly matters: comfort, confidence, and the ability to ride all day without paying for it all night afterward. Yet somehow the next Harley on this countdown goes even further, transforming long-distance touring into something so effortless that many senior riders quietly consider it the closest thing to a two-wheeled luxury car ever built. Number 3. Harley-Davidson Ultra Limited. There comes a stage in a rider's life when comfort stops being a luxury and starts becoming the very thing that determines whether you can keep riding at all. And few motorcycles understand that reality better than the Harley-Davidson Ultra Limited. This is not simply a touring bike. It is a full-size highway machine engineered around one mission: helping riders stay on the road for years longer than they thought possible. The moment you settle into the saddle, the difference becomes obvious. The upright riding posture takes pressure away from the wrists and lower back, while the wide floorboards let aging knees and hips constantly reposition during long rides. The handlebars rise naturally toward the rider, creating a relaxed stance that feels almost effortless after hours on the interstate. But the real magic is how effectively this motorcycle fights fatigue. The massive batwing fairing, lower wind deflectors, and full touring bodywork create an incredibly calm pocket of air around the rider. Wind pressure drops dramatically, neck strain eases. Even cold weather rides become far less punishing on aging joints. And then comes the Milwaukee 8114 engine. Deep, smooth, and beautifully refined, compared to older Harley generations. Highway miles feel steady instead of exhausting. Passenger comfort is exceptional too, thanks to the large tour, pack backrest, and plush rear seating, built for genuine cross-country travel. New ultra-limited models now begin around $32,000, while clean used examples commonly range between $22,000 and $31,000. Still, even devoted ultra riders eventually discover that wind management becomes increasingly important with age, especially during brutal highway crosswinds or endless interstate days. And once riders experience how much fatigue a frame-mounted fairing can remove from the equation, the next Harley in this countdown starts making more sense than ever. Number 2, Harley-Davidson Road Glide Limited. This is not a motorcycle built around showing off. It is built around preserving the rider. The first thing seniors notice is the famous frame-mounted shark nose fairing. Unlike traditional fork-mounted designs, the fairing stays anchored to the chassis instead of loading weight directly into the handlebars. Out on the interstate, that difference feels enormous. Wind pressure softens, steering remains calmer, and long-distance riding becomes far less demanding on aging shoulders and wrists. The comfort continues through every inch of the ergonomics. A broad touring saddle supports the lower body for full-day travel, while spacious floorboards allow constant movement for stiff knees and hips. Heated grips, lower fairings, and the 𝐑𝐈𝐃𝐄𝐑 passenger backrest transform cold highway miles into something remarkably manageable. Power comes from Harley's Milwaukee 8114V twin, delivering effortless low-end torque with smoother vibration control than older touring Harleys ever achieved. Brand new models begin around $33,000, while clean used examples commonly range between $24,000 and $32,000. And if these kinds of motorcycles still make you excited about the years of riding ahead, becoming a member helps keep this road going while giving you early access to every new video before anyone else gets there. But what makes the Road Glide Limited so interesting? This late in the countdown isn't just how comfortable it is, it's how close it gets to eliminating the usual compromises older riders expect from heavyweight touring bikes. The wind protection feels calmer, the highway stability feels more planted. The fatigue arrives later and later with every mile. Yet Harley-Davidson still believed there was room for one more machine above it all, not necessarily bigger, but more refined, more deliberate, and built for riders chasing the absolute peak of pain-free American touring. And that final answer is waiting at the final spot. Number 1, Harley-Davidson CVO Road Glide. The Harley-Davidson CVO Road Glide is what happens when a motorcycle stops trying to impress people for 5 minutes and starts focusing on keeping a rider comfortable for the next 15 years. This is not a bike built around ego, it is built around endurance. The frame-mounted shark nose fairing creates one of the smoothest highway experiences Harley-Davidson has ever produced. Wind turbulence drops dramatically, highway stability feels rock solid, and fatigue stays surprisingly low even after hours in the saddle. And for senior riders, that matters far more than raw speed ever will. The ergonomics feel purpose-built for aging bodies. The handlebars come naturally toward the rider. The seating position keeps pressure away from the lower back, and the wide floorboards allow knees and hips to move comfortably during long-distance rides. Then comes the Milwaukee 8VV T121 engine. Massively powerful, yet incredibly smooth and controlled. Add premium suspension, heated grips, advanced touring technology, and refined vibration management, and the result feels less like a motorcycle and more like a rolling luxury machine. New CVO Road Glide models now begin around $46,000, while clean used examples commonly range between $36,000 and $44,000. Because in the end, getting older was never supposed to end the journey. It was only supposed to change the motorcycle you trusted to continue it. And if this video reminded you that the best riding years might still be ahead of you, the next video takes that road even further. Deeper into the machines, upgrades, and real-world touring secrets, changing how experienced riders think about life on two wheels. Click the next video and continue the road trip with us, because the motorcycles waiting there might completely change the way you think about comfort, touring, and freedom on two wheels. And don't forget to like this video before you ride on.